pastorally on the link between grace and exhortation, rebuke, etc. I'm dealing with someone at the moment who's very much gripped by grace, sees that, absolutely. So much so that she doesn't want to hear the exhortations of Titus 2 or Ephesians 4. She says, you can't motivate me by rules, you motivate me by grace. So how do you explain those exhortations to somebody like that?
Well, it may be a case, I'm sure you already do this, but maybe it is a case of choosing passages when we read with someone that addresses a particular deficiency in understanding. And there are so many clear rules, commands, instructions that I would have thought it's difficult to sustain that argument on the basis that's how Paul himself, not only Paul, Jesus teaches. And maybe it's a case of getting back. Of course, as soon as we begin to form our own encouragements, like could you serve on the roster a bit more often, which I don't say has no place or whatever, but we're on shakier ground trying to persuade someone in that way because you can't actually... But I would have thought it's harder to ignore what is clearly given here and perhaps to look at some of those practical passages of what does it mean to love one another or practice hospitality or whatever. It's kind of harder to get out of what's right in front of your eyes. Yes. Yeah.
When you're talking about in your first talk about older women, men teaching younger people, and you said that older people can stand back, I don't know whether you meant older women or older people in general, and not do that. The younger generation, as you probably are aware, because of all the social engineering that's been going on, don't particularly like being told as much as they used to. So they've been taught not to respect authority, etc. So that can be a bit difficult.
I totally understand that, and the cult of youth is alive and well in various places where we have to listen to what young people say. I mean, I see it in places in our part of the world where young people are given a voice, and we'll have to do what is said. When a school-aged person speaks in synod, everyone has ears, and it seems amazing, and that kind of thing. That's part of a wider culture. I think it does show the need for us to educate younger people to learn how to ask questions, and to often if you don't ask, you're just going to live in ignorance. And there probably is work to be done at the younger end of things to teach people how to respect a different generation, to learn from them, and to benefit from them. And that probably needs some active teaching. It doesn't come naturally, certainly doesn't come through the culture, as you suggest. Yeah.
We have time for one or two more questions, if anyone does. Yeah, Simon.
Pretty simple question, I think. I'm just not sure how you stop people from despising you.
I haven't worked that one out yet. Let no one disregard you, I've got here. I think not allowing people to put you off the scent, put off the trail, it needs a certain conviction on our part that we need to teach these things. And yes, it can be a bit uncomfortable, and we're challenging people in some practical ways, but it needs it's really a baseline conviction. This is what we need to do. And I think he's emboldening Titus simply in that way. I'm not sure there's a method that Titus has to have. I just wonder if it's if he's giving Titus the hand on the shoulder from an older man. Let no one disregard you. You know what you've got to do. Now do it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I think time for one last question just here, thank you, and then we'll move to our next.
Just following up the previous question but one, sometimes there seems to be an emphasis in ministry really on youth, and older people really don't get too much to look at. Do you have any comment on that?
Oh, I agree with that. And I think, of course, it shouldn't be sort of either or, that kind of thing, but we need to be aware of each and every age. And as people live longer in better health than previous generations, there is this wonderful opportunity. And it's really up to us in ministry to equip and enable people to see that the possibilities there. For us, we have a little Bible teaching course which the wonderful Peter Collier from Sydney runs, and trying to get some people approaching retirement age to go on that, so that they can then be equipped in ministry is certainly one big chunk of it. And so we mustn't ignore, in our concern to raise up a new generation of ministry-minded people, we mustn't forget a generation which is sitting right in front of us. And I think it just needs deliberate thought. Here are the people in the congregation of an age and a stage who've got the time and the appetite, but might need some help and direction. And if someone's age 65, potentially there's a lot of years ahead in that kind of bracket. To say nothing of 45 to 65, which is kind of the area I was talking about earlier. Yeah.